Hello, everybody. My name is Oliver G. This is the Earful Tower podcast. Here's an episode brought to you by Live Tours, Livtours, a tour company that does tours in Paris and all over Europe. Everything from neighborhood tours to Versailles, Champagne. These are totally tailored to travelers' interests, small tours, private tours. Now, today's guest, Ana Jimena, is a Spaniard who's been living in Paris. She moved here 20 years ago and she's got a penchant. She loves the dark side of the city. We're talking cemeteries, we're talking catacombs, we're talking the afterlife, and she's the perfect guest for this episode where we delve into the unusual objects that people leave at gravestones around Paris. Now, I knew about this before. I knew about I don't want to spoil anything, but I knew about the food, the fresh produce at some of the graves, but I didn't know that it went a lot deeper than that. So we've got a big handful of these unusual offerings that Parisians have been leaving around the city of Paris in Père Lachaise and Montparnasse Cemetery especially. Anna is going to explain it all to us, and if you want to go a little bit deeper in the Père Lachaise or around Paris, livetours.com in the show notes below is where you want to be. Here comes some music from Press Maxon. My name is Oliver G, and this is the Earful Tower podcast. Let's do it. Ana Jimena, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Very good.
How was my Spanish pronunciation?
Very good.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't think I've ever had someone from Spain, let alone Andalusia, on the show before.
Exactly.
Before we get into cemeteries, though, am I right that you specialize in dark Paris?
Exactly.
Why do you want to specialize in dark Paris?
Well, I'm from Andalusia, so I have both party and death.
Yes.
So all connected with the both side of life.
Yeah.
Was when you are happy and party, and when you die. We are extreme people in Andalusia, so I think it's my region give me that.
So your region made you interested in
death.
In death, and then
Yes.
you come to Paris. I know you like cemeteries, but what is Paris good for being interested in death?
Of course, yes. We have the catacombs, we have the cemeteries, beautiful cemeteries where it's almost like a park where you can go just to have a walk and you can relax. And also all the history of Paris. We used to have executions, we had the guillotine. So there's a lot of history, dark side of the history here in Paris.
Well, if there are ghosts in Paris, are there ghosts in Paris?
Well, we have a famous ghost, for example, the ghost of Tuileries, the Red Man of Tuileries.
Yeah.
And apparently some people who live at the Palace of Tuileries, like Marie Antoinette and Napoleon, they have seen the Red Man of Tuileries.
And what do you think? Do you think there are ghosts?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. You're smiling, though, when you say it. I think if there's ghosts, I feel if there are ghosts in Paris at the front of the Hotel de Ville, surely we're going to have some headless, armless ghosts out there, or the cemeteries.
Well, we had a lot of executions at the square of Hotel de Ville, also at the public square of La Concorde. So maybe people who went there to see these people dying and these people are not having a good rest after that. I think when you are at the cemetery, you don't really feel like ghosts will be around because people there resting on their tombs. So if they are at their tombs, they will not wandering around for sure. So I believe more in ghosts at the place where they died, at the place where they had this bad experience, people watching them to die.
I see. Okay, so cemeteries are a safe place if you're scared of ghosts.
Definitely yes.
I'm not scared of ghosts. I feel like I would like to see a ghost, and if there's one at the cemetery, I'd be happy to see one. But that brings us to the cemetery, and I want to start with a question here. It occurs to me as an Australian man that there are a lot of weird objects being put at Paris gravestones. Is that a fair comment?
Yes, it starts because at the Parisian cemeteries you have a lot of tourists, a lot of visitors, just come to walk around and see the celebrities. So these people want to make a sign of their presence, and you want to show people that these person is still alive on your memory, you do something to prove, and maybe something connected with the person who died. And some people are easy to find idea. For example, if you go to the tomb of Fulgence Bienvenu at the Père Lachaise cemetery, he's the father of the metro.
What does that even mean, the father of the metro?
Well, he was the engineer who created the metro of Paris. He planned and they built in a record time for these 1900s, beginning of 20th century. In only 10 years, almost all lines were finished. First line open was line 1. He was very efficient person, and his tomb is at the Père Lachaise cemetery, not in the main alley. It's a bit hide. And people who go there because they want to see the father of the metro, the Parisian metro, who did an amazing job with the metro that was still used today, they will find something to prove that they came to pay homage to him. Maybe easier way and connected with him is put a metro ticket. Because very often you have a metro ticket on your pockets. So put a metro ticket on there, and like this, you show everyone that this tomb is visited by you, and maybe someone else coming and doing the same.
Do you think it's a sign of more respect if you put a metro ticket that hasn't been used? I think that's more. That's like more expensive. That's like putting the big bunch of flowers. It's like, I really care for you, Mr. Bienvenu.
Well, I don't know. I never tried to see if the metro tickets were used or not. Honestly, I cannot answer that question.
You told me though before we press record. You mentioned this guy to me. I never even heard of him, but that's what did you say? That's why it's called Montparnasse Bienvenue. Yeah,
the station. We have a big station, very important. You can go out of Paris with these trains on this station, and the station, metro station of Montparnasse. When you take the metro, is Montparnasse Bienvenue.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Yeah, bienvenue means welcome.
Well, why didn't they just give him his own station, Bienvenue, somewhere?
I agree. Yeah. I agree that he should have his own station, not just Montparnasse Bienvenue.
Yeah.
Especially because most of the Parisians don't know that it's because of the father of the metro. They think just welcoming people to the Montparnasse station.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this podcast for 8 years, I think now. I never heard of this guy. It's a Fulgence Bienvenue and metro ticket. See, I mean, that's new to me. But it's cool because what we've got here is we've got a list of, 6 or 8 unusual things people leave at these gravestones around Paris. The metro tickets is a weird one, but weirder still is that Serge Gainsbourg, the singer, people also put metro tickets.
Yes, and cigarettes, because he was, of course, love drink,
He was
cigarettes.
a chain smoker, that guy. The interviews I've seen with him. And as I understand the tickets for him, he didn't have anything to do with inventing the metro in Paris, but he had a song, the Poinçonneur de Lilas.
Exactly.
And see, I've done my research as well. So this,
it's true.
So people put metro tickets there, cigarettes as well.
Yes.
And I asked someone, I remember when I was out there at the cemetery, I was like, why did they put metro tickets? And someone said, it's about him traveling into the afterlife. And I was like, no, it doesn't sound...
No. It's a song.
It doesn't sound right at all. Okay, so cigarettes and used cigarettes, new cigarettes?
Mostly used.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep it in the same cemetery here, the Montparnasse Cemetery.
Yes.
Do you prefer that cemetery?
Well, I love all cemeteries of Paris, but Montparnasse is very nice too. You have Charles Baudelaire.
Yeah.
So I like to visit his tomb and maybe say a little bit of poetry in front of his tomb.
Do you really?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
What, in French?
Of course.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite, one of his poems?
Les chats.
Which one's that?
Bien mon beau chat sur mon cœur amoureux.
I bet you didn't think I'd be testing you on Baudelaire in the studio. I actually bought a book about Baudelaire the other day just to try and see what all the fuss was about. Pretty extreme poetry there.
Mm-hmm, yes, Les Fleurs de Mal.
Oh my goodness me.
Was censored at his time because it was extremely hard for this time.
Well, things about like rotting corpses and stuff like this.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right up your alley in the death and afterlife, maybe.
Well, he had a very strange life. He catch syphilis, and he was frequently with prostitutes and going to the taverns and drinking absinthe. So he died in a horrible way with the syphilis and very sick.
Mm.
So his poetry is a reflect of his life.
I wonder what people would leave at his gravestone if it came to
Nothing, just flowers.
Yeah.
Yes, I go very often to the Charles Baudelaire tomb, and it's just flowers on there.
Well, that's very traditional and boring for this episode. But if we stay if we stay in that cemetery, you told me when I never heard about Jacques Chirac.
Yes.
Who is this man first?
He was a president of France, and he was very popular president. I mean, very close to the people, very friendly. And in his campaign, he had a tree, apple tree, in one image of his campaign. And he also talked about why, because a journalist asking, why you have an apple tree on your image, on your book, and he say, well, I like apples. I'm an apple eater. So he talked like this.
A man of the people, yeah.
And after, when he go to the Salon de l'Agriculture, people offer him apples.
Really?
And after, everyone just joking about apples all the rest of his life. And now, when you go to visit his tomb, you bring apples.
That is so weird to me. What, yes. So when you go, there's just a handful of apples there sitting on his gravestone?
You can have a lot of apples. Sometimes I count and you have maybe 50 apples.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow. And then what happens when they go old and rot?
The guards of the cemetery clean very often.
Really?
Or even the people who visit, when they say, oh, this apple is too old.
It's too old and rotten and disgusting. Let's put it on Baudelaire's tomb. He would have liked it.
Exactly.
Something like that.
And it's nearby. Just the tomb of Gainsbourg is like a few meters away of Jacques Chirac. It's in the main alley of the cemetery of Montparnasse.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people go to the markets and bring apples for Chirac and cabbage for Gainsbourg, because Gainsbourg also had a song, L'homme à la tête de chou.
The man with the cabbage head.
So people bring cabbage to the tomb of...
People put... Yes. Are you sure this isn't just like one day you went there that some crazy market person...
No, I have seen more than once.
Really?
It's not as often as cigarettes, but yes, some people come and think they go to the market, they take apples and they take cabbage, and then they go to the cemetery.
You know what that reminds me of? Often when you come to a foreign country, especially tourists coming to Paris, and you'll see something like that. You'll see a cabbage on a gravestone and you just have no idea.
Exactly.
You have no idea. And you're like, is that meant to be there? Is there some kind of context? Even living, I mean, you moved to Paris 20 years ago, right? I moved here about 10 years ago. I think it's fascinating. Like sometimes I'll see the name of a restaurant. And when I first saw it 10 years ago, I didn't even understand what the name of it meant in English. And then with a few years, you can translate it and you go, okay, that's what that means. And then it takes a few more years to realize that it's the name of a song or a quote of something. You know, like there's all these layers to a culture. And it's the same here, like cabbage on Serge Gainsbourg.
And it's not the most famous song. It's Je suis l'homme à la tête de chou. Tan, tan. Petit homme, petit légume. Little man, little vegetable.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the most famous song. The Poinçonneur des Lilas is much more famous than...
And that literally is like the guy who stamps the hole in the metro tickets back in the days when they used to stamp them.
Well, and the song is extremely powerful because imagine all your life you just do this every day.
Yeah.
And finally he shot himself.
Is that how it ends? I remember the song because it's a really catchy. He keeps going like des petits trous, entre des petits trous, little holes, little holes.
Exactly. After the hole was
and
on
the
his
hole
head.
Is that what it? Wow.
And he end in a hole because he ends
up in a hole. There you go.
It's a very, very interesting song when you hear the lyrics.
You know what? I've just thought of a nice continuation from if you go to the market, you pick up your apples and your cabbage. You may as well pick up a few potatoes as well.
Oh, well, but this is another...
Hop on the metro.
Exactly.
Head back to Père Lachaise. Talk us through this one. This one's a weird one. Parmentier.
Exactly, Parmentier.
You know, I've never seen this. I've been to Père Lachaise a bunch of times and never found his grave.
His tomb is not easy to find. It's in the middle. It's not in a main alley. But it's not far from La Fontaine and Molière.
Okay.
But by the way, just to tell you, La Fontaine and Molière probably are not there because they were throw it in a common grave.
Yeah.
We just throw these people in a common grave, and after, in the 19th century, we wanted to make people believe that it's a good place to be buried next to La Fontaine and Molière, and we took some bones from a common grave and bring in there, telling that it is... Maybe, but most probably not.
So for people at home who've never heard of Molière, there's surely someone. We're talking the French Shakespeare here.
Exactly.
And so what happened is basically it was like a PR stunt. They're like, we want more people to visit this or to be buried there. Or
exactly. Well, before, the cemeteries used to be at the city, next to the churches. But after, for hygiene reasons, we need to close all of the cemeteries inside Paris because it started to be a real problem. And the bones were transferred to the catacombs of Paris.
Right.
That's how we have more than maybe 2 million, between 2 and 6 million people at the catacombs of Paris.
Yeah, right.
And of course, because you cannot have a tomb at the indoor cemeteries because we remove all the indoor cemeteries, we built new cemeteries on the borders. Père Lachaise, Montparnasse, Passy.
Yeah.
That were out of the city at this time. Now, now it's not out of the city because the city,
of course,
grew up after that.
Yep.
But that was idea. But people don't want to be buried there because it was far.
Yeah.
So the way to make people come to this place is to bring celebrities. And then La Fontaine is another celebrity in France. He brought histories of animals that you can learn from these histories.
Fables. Yeah.
Fables.
Of course, yep.
But that was just a marketing
So
strategy.
they're just any old bones there. That's not so funny.
Yeah, we don't even know. Of course, probability to be in a common grave. You can imagine the mess of bones. Probability to be really those two people is not very.
It's 1 in 6 million by the time.
Exactly.
Okay,
but does make people maybe be interested in this cemetery, and it works.
Often, anyway, it's like some of the graves, not just of the famous people, but some of the graves in Père Lachaise are just beautiful. Anyway, who cares who's buried there?
Exactly.
Last time I was at Père Lachaise, I found I don't know who it was for, but I'm a big fan of Hector Guimard's architecture.
Yes.
And he did a gravestone close to the entrance in
Yes.
Père Lachaise, and I went and looked at it. It was beautiful, this curvy. I'll attach a picture of it when I share this episode, but you can go for just to see the gravestones of anyone. Some of them are spectacular.
Also, statues. You have beautiful statues of famous artists that just there because families have money and they want to prove that they have money. So they buy beautiful statues, beautiful monuments.
It's like a museum, the Père Lachaise, isn't it?
Exactly. You can walk around and you discover a lot of history, especially 19th century history, because the cemetery opened at 19th century, very beginning of 19th century. When the first opened, nobody wanted to be buried there. But after bring La Fontaine, Molière, and Héloïse Abelard, it was like a Romeo and Juliet of France.
They got a good grave as well.
Yeah, they have beautiful, just very romantic. Yeah, you can see them both lying together.
Yeah,
it's very romantic.
It looks like a bed, basically, that they're in a massive bed. No, close to the Hector Guimard one as well. Right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. But hang on, we forgot about Parmentier. So it's in there somewhere in the middle.
Parmentier is not far from La Fontaine and Molière.
Yeah.
It's just a few meters away.
Yeah.
But on the back side, not in the main line.
And when you say that people will leave potatoes there, I've never seen it. Be honest with me.
I'm
2 or 3,
always
200?
Well, always when I go to Parmentier's tomb, is always potatoes on there.
How many?
A lot, maybe more than 15.
Really?
Yeah, 20
I wonder
potatoes.
if people bring one at a time, or if people come with like a bag of 10. You know, people who. But who cares about Parmentier so much? This is the guy, by the way. He was a French pharmacist and agronomist who, as I understand, he brought potatoes to Paris.
Exactly.
So he
wanted to save people of hungriness.
Yeah.
And potatoes are very good for that because it's easy to grow and easy to preserve.
Yeah.
But people don't like potatoes. They give that to pigs and animals.
Right.
But he tried to prove that you can eat potatoes and can be very tasty and you can save the country with the potatoes.
Okay, so he saved France. Let's give him let's give him all the credit possible. He saved France.
Well, not at this time. It doesn't work at the beginning. People take time to accept potatoes on their everyday life.
So he's also in a PR campaign to save the country. He manages. This has got hundreds of years ago, and people still care to leave potatoes today.
Yes.
Why?
Well, maybe they are here in Paris and they study history, or maybe just people from the neighborhood, because you have a lot of people who live nearby and are going, they go there like a park, and maybe children who live nearby come with their parents on the afternoon and leaving potatoes at the cemetery. There's a lot of people going there all the time.
You know what they could sell at the Paris tourism office is they could sell like just a tote bag with inside is 1 potato, 1 cabbage, 1 apple, a couple of cigarette butts and metro ticket stubs, and say, good luck, you're going to go on the
I think that's a very good idea. You must maybe you try by yourself to
town hall will never listen to me.
but maybe put a map of the cemetery because it's not easy to find.
No.
I can see people lost all the time when I lead guide tours on there. People are lost and I need to explain them, okay, no, it's not this street, it's next.
And people are always looking for Edith Piaf.
Edith Piaf, yes. And
Jim Morrison.
Exactly. Jim Morrison is quite folkloric because people go there to drink.
Yeah, so we talked about this on the phone before. You said that, because I'd seen the chewing gum there.
Yes.
People leave chewing gum. It's not so much that anymore, is it more about...
Honestly, the chewing gums, I think it's for the last 20 years. Since I came to Paris, I have seen people, I don't know why. I wondering why. So, okay, chewing gums is quite American thing, I guess, because I don't see people eating chewing gums that often in France. Honestly, I don't know why, but there's a tree there.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, they just stick it to the tree. But after the guards put something surrounding the tree to protect the tree of chewing gums because it was packed of chewing gums was really too much. Really. Yeah, I know it's disgusting. Yeah. Now there's still people put chewing gums.
They just put it on the cover of whatever they put over the tree.
On the tree.
I guess chewing gum is more accessible than putting a door there. For the doors, that wouldn't really work. It has to be something small.
No, I never see doors on
keys. It should be keys. Keys for doors.
Yeah, or lighters for smoke or something like this.
True. But so what you say that now people go there drinking, like you say it's folkloric, like part of folklore to go in.
It's a party there.
Is it really?
Yes.
People what day drinking? People because it's closed at night.
Beer,
right? Yeah.
Whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey. He had a song about whiskey bars.
Even champagne. Sometimes you arrive to the tomb and they drink in champagne.
I sense that the people that run the cemetery wouldn't be very happy with that though.
No, it's a tradition in France. For example, when you visit your family tomb, you can do a little ritual for your family. So it's quite accepted by the guards because normal people do on their families' graves. So why not at the Jim Morrison's grave?
Okay, well, let's add a bottle of beer to our tote bag of tools.
Exactly. You need to add
chewing gum.
Exactly.
And this next one, I feel like I'm out of date with it. Lipstick.
Oh, well, yes.
That's changed, has it?
Yeah, yes, Oscar Wilde, I think also like 20 years was a tradition that you kiss the tomb of Oscar Wilde, which is a beautiful monument with a statue, with a kind of angel. But the problem was that this lipstick started to be a problem, damaged the stone. The stone was very complicated to clean. And finally, they find a solution. They put a glass surrounding the tomb. People still kiss the glass, but it's not as interesting as the stone. So people pretty much stopped to doing that.
Really? Or maybe it's just easier for them to clean it.
Also, maybe. Yeah. There's maybe another...
I wonder why, if there's a connection that I'm missing here with Oscar Wilde and kissing.
Romantic.
Just romantic.
Love.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about love.
There's an obvious connection that I missed. That must say something about my brain. But taking it a big step beyond love to kind of the unusual version of romance, we've got the last one on our list is Victor Noir, the journalist.
Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah. This isn't really... Is this love?
Well, this is a bit more sensual.
A bit more sensual. Can you?
Which is connected with love, of course.
There'll be people at home who have no idea what we're talking about. Do you mind explaining?
You have a lying statue, like a deaf person who just was shot, because indeed he was a journalist who was shot for political reasons. And the artist who made his statue, he just represented him just when just died. And indeed, he represented in a very realistic way. You can see the shot, the bullet hole on his chest. You can see his jacket, his hat that just fall next to him.
Right, so it's like a death photo almost.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you've been there when he died. And of course, there's a representation of his penis in rigor mortis.
His manhood, yeah.
Well, it's
rigor mortis, is that?
Rigor mortis,
okay.
Yes. You can say that it's true. We don't know exactly if he just did that because it's very evident. I mean, it's not discreet. Yeah. You can perfectly see that it's
essentially
something on his
I'll say it as tastefully as I can. As you're approaching this grave of Victor Noir, a man laying down cast in bronze or whatever it is, you can see his most intimate part from 10
Exactly.
meters away.
Exactly. Well, but this is also because people touch it.
Yeah, no, this is where it gets even weirder.
Well,
So here on Victor Noir, you don't leave cigarettes, you don't leave apples, you leave your fingerprints basically, because is it women that do it? Is that the idea?
well, the idea is if you touch, you can imagine for women who want to get pregnant,
Yeah.
touching that part of his body and
Yeah.
maybe help the ladies to get pregnant. And it can be true because people, when they get pregnant, after they came back and they leave objects like shoes, baby shoes.
Are you serious?
Yes, you can see surrounding the tomb. Sometimes
What?
you have baby shoes.
Wow.
And it's because ladies who get pregnant,
Yeah.
thanks to Victor Noir, they will say thank you, bringing the shoes of their son.
So Victor Noir is responsible perhaps for more pregnancies in Paris than any other man.
Incredible.
When
yeah?
when you do tours and you go past Victor Noir and you explain that, do men and women touch
Of course they do.
men as well? The men do it too?
All just to joke and
Yeah.
to take pictures and yes, of course.
It does make for there's some wild pictures on the internet of that.
Some people, when I explain, they will touch the feet, and the feet is also shiny. You have 3 parts of his body,
Yeah.
very shiny. The mouth, because maybe people kiss him.
Yeah.
The feet, for people who are, they don't want to do something very crazy. They don't like to be crazy, so they just touch the feet. Also, the feet is also shiny. And of course, the penis is
Yes.
very shiny, which make that more visible. Because even if it's visible, because perfectly, you can see.
Yeah.
But also, when it's shiny, because everyone is touching there, well, it
Yeah.
will be more easy to see.
Unreal. Okay, well that makes for a really great list of things. You've also answered some questions I didn't even know that I had. But I want to finish with a question that I didn't prepare you for. If imagine you were going to leave Paris and never come back, and someone said on your last day you get to go and see one gravestone in the whole of Paris, one that you really like, and you can go and spend 5 minutes.
Well, there is a tomb of a father of Spiritism, Allan Kardec.
Allan Kardec.
Yes, and it's the tomb with the most flowers. Did you see? It's always full of flowers.
Okay.
Because there is a tradition about Allan Kardec. So Allan Kardec grave is look like a dolmen, because he believed that he was from very old times. So his tomb is quite special. Look like a very old monument, and like a very old tomb.
Okay.
From the prehistoric style.
And is this at Père Lachaise as well?
It is at Père Lachaise, and you know why I will go there?
Tell
Because
me.
Allan Kardec told that if you go to his tomb and you ask for something to him, he will help you, and he will make that wish become true. So if I only have 5 minutes, I will ask Allan Kardec, please make me back to Paris.
Oh, that's a great answer, Anna. I love that answer. Allan Kardec, if you're listening, don't let Anna leave the city. I've just looked him up. That's a beautiful grave. ALLANKARDEC. Everything that Anna has said to us will be in the show notes below and on a blog post. But Anna, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
And maybe one day
It was
I'll
a
see
pleasure.
you. Yeah, well, mate, the pleasure was mine. Maybe one of these days I'll see you out there in the cemeteries of Paris.
Of course.
There you have it, Anna. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Some weird things around Paris. We will have pictures, we'll have videos. We will be sharing this in all the different ways you can share it, so you can get a good idea of what we're talking about. A big thanks to Live Tours. Once again, LIVTOURS. They do tours not just in Paris, but all over Europe. And I think it's a good way of spending your time in Paris is to do tours with them. Everything from the Marais, Montmartre, the big museums, the Eiffel Tower, and more offbeat places like the Père Lachaise Cemetery. And what's best is it's totally tailored to the traveler's interests. So thanks again to Live Tours, thanks to Press Maxon for the music, Eddie G for the editing, and all you listeners and supporters around the world. This has been the Eiffel Tower. My name is Oliver G, and I will see you next week with another episode.